Hello, everybody, and I'm back, and I got a Rainbow movie review for you. And we're not going deep in this film because it's not really that deep, but it's a bit of wisdom to warfare. A lot of you are at the very end of your season. If you know you're at the end of your season, you know because you've been through the warfare, you've been through all of this. Some of you may not have. Some of you are at the beginning. Everybody's in different seasons. Check with the Lord to find out where you at. Take it back to God. Don't just take me on as my word for it. But this is you being at the end of the road. You're at the end, you're about to transition. You spiritually already gotten there. You've already crossed over, but you have to physically cross over. And this is what this film is about. The crossover point. And I'm going to be talking from spiritual and physical crossing over. Okay? So, the movie The End of the Road, starring Queen Latifah, Ludacris, and two other people. Queen Latifah's character, she is a mom whose husband just died. Now, this can speak spiritually and physically. I don't know if any of y'all have lost spouses. That's something between you and the Lord. But upon losing a spouse, you have to go through a transitionary period because you no longer have that income in your life unless that person was a veteran and was receiving some type of veterans benefits. Social Security, depending on how old the person was. And you are receiving that to stabilize you. But even in that, it takes time for you to receive the transition of the money to come into you. So, know this, if you're Christian, and those of you that are Christian understand this, that when you see money leave a household and there's a break in the finance, there's usually some form of a siphoning attack that tries to happen, whether it tries to move you out of position just before you receive the financial benefit of it, or you just end up in a level of something trying to pull you, because the three things that the enemy tries to do, especially to a child of God, is put you in homelessness, put you in a mental institution, or incarcerate you, because it's hoping that you will take that moment of desperation and turn, do something out of desperation that will get you stuck. Okay? Remember, Joseph ended up in the prison. Not once, but twice. If he cannot get somebody else to put you in the prison, he's going to get somebody to accuse you of something that's going to lead you to end up in the prison. Or in a moment when a person is in a transitionary period, you see a lot of people end up in the shelter system. I've seen this happen to a lot, and a lot have gone through the shelter system because of a sudden change. Whenever a person dies, that is your partner, whoever it is, when they pass away, there is a immediate shift in a financial benefit. Remember the story of the woman that her husband died and she only had her two sons, and she had to go to the prophet who prophesied, "Where's your oil?" Because she had to use that oil in order to sustain her after her husband's death. Okay? Now, with that being said, there are things that if you end up in homelessness, you have to be very careful of, because the enemy's always trying to take. And if he can set you up in a specific way, the thing that they mostly try to do in those types of scenarios is they try to get you to sign up for some type of benefit and certain things, because either they gonna get your assets, because now I've noticed with social services, they are doing this thing with they need you to list all your assets, homes, cars, any type of assetted benefits, life insurance policies, all of these kinds of things. Life insurance policies, yeah, they need your life insurance policy information and so on and so forth. 9 times out of 10, in order for you to cut your ability to get benefits, if you get it, it's going to be so daggone low, it's going to be nonsensical as to why you got it in the first place, because it ain't going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form. And that's the point. They want to make sure that they keep you at a low level that you can't climb out of that. Now, some people, they will take that as opportunity. They'll go into the shelter if they don't have any money, and they will keep assets in a different type of account. Because there are some people that I knew, people back when I was doing benefits, what they would do is they would either get a bank account after they got their benefits, because you don't want to show them that you have a bank account. I remember one time I was between benefits. I had a bank account, but my bank account closed. I went and reopened it after I got my benefits, but I showed them a letter that it was closed. This was years ago. Just so that I would have some place that I could save and store money. I wasn't getting money regularly. I had no income. But whenever I could stow away and store some up, some people would store their money up, keep it, and save money. They stayed in the shelter 1, 2, 3 years trying to save money so that they could buy a property. But that's not the point. Depending on where you are living, it can be difficult to get out of the homelessness situation once you've gotten into it, because people will not assist you, people will not this, that, and the other, and that's the point, to get you stuck there. Now, what's the mental institution part? If they can get you, and sometimes you will see this in the homeless shelters, they will try to get you a psychological evaluation in order to commit you to being mentally off, so that they can legally give you medication. Now, some people, because they're looking for a benefit, because I remember back in the early 2000s, a lot of people were going to Social Security and claiming mental illness so that they could get a benefits check. And that spiritually, I heard somebody that did a video where they were spiritually messing themselves up because they were claiming mental illness, and a lot of people went mentally ill after they claimed it, which we speak out our mouth, we shall see. Okay? Now, with that being said, this woman, her husband passed away. And with her husband passing, they were not able to keep their home. So she was going to have to move out. So while they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, she was leaving the house because they were going to need to sell it. She was going to go visit a family member, a road trip. a lot of people, you have either been in a journey through the wilderness and are coming to the end of it, or you're about to enter the journey that will become your wilderness. Okay? But a lot of you are entering that last hump that is going to be the transitionary point into your blessing. Okay? So with that being said, she went through and she went through the entire house and was looking at all of the memories. A lot of you, when things came to it and God began your transition, some of you transitioned out of jobs, out of homes, out of residences, out of all these types of things. And the temptation is to get caught up in the melancholy of the memories. Don't do that. Don't do that. The enemy will keep you stuck and in demonic delay if you get caught up in the melancholy of looking back at everything. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay? So she's trying to get her son to leave the house because he don't want to leave. She's like, I want to stay and wait for blah, blah, blah. And she's like, get in the car, please. We have to go. Her brother shows up because her brother's coming over. And he's coming with them to go visit their mother. And then she has a teenage daughter. So they're all preparing to leave to go together. And you gotta love this woman. She is a Christian woman. They don't even get in the car until they pray. She said, we ain't even getting in there. You know the drill. Come on, we gotta pray. Some of you are the Christian woman. Some of you are the one that's leading the family. You're holding them together. You're going to be the matriarch and patriarch of your family. And because of that, some of your people in your family, they may be in your same car, your same vehicle, and your same boat. And they aren't particularly fond of your skill of prayer. But that's what keeps them safe. Okay? Because you're the one that has the spirit to handle the situation. Okay? So they prayed together and they hit the road. They riding and she trying to have conversation. That's the type of person that you are. You're the person that no matter how bad the situation looks, no matter how bad the situation is, you're trying to look at it from a positive perspective and everybody else is looking at you. Oh, there goes the loving of Jesus, Christian, blah, 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 person that is, God, why? We're going to have to be stuck in this car with you this whole time. You're the one that's necessary because when things go down, who they coming to? So she driving only to come to a point, or while they have gotten to a point where they were laughing again, you got to take a detour. Now you know. In a lot of situations, come on now, you're on a road trip and they say, take a detour. And you know they passed, classic movie moment. They passed a sign that on the opposite side of the detour it said wrong way. I'm like, come on now. Be careful. Because when you are preparing to go into a blessed season, and a lot of you have been dealing with this, especially in these last month or two, the enemy tried to trick you into going the wrong direction, which led you into a level of warfare. You were dealing with a level of melancholiness and all this kind of stuff, but you felt like you were going the wrong direction. So as they were riding up and through there, they needed to clean off the car it was a bunch of bugs and stuff like that. Bugs are a sign of a transition to monitoring spirits, so on and so forth, which brings into the next point. There were two dudes standing outside. Now I ain't see this happen in the film. I think the daughter just said that it did, so it was something that was done off camera. I remember seeing the two guys looking at the girl, but I didn't see her interact with the guys. And maybe they just said it anyway. But no, she admitted it. She admitted that she did say something wrong to them. Um, the mother went into the convenience store to buy something, and she felt uncomfortable being in there. So she comes out because she didn't even like the way that the guy at the front counter was acting. As Christians with discernment, we have the tendency to be able to have the ability to monitor and discern our surroundings. If we don't feel right, we engage the warrior spirit within us, and we looking at everything. Wait, this don't feel right. Something's off here. So you start paying attention to everybody and everything. She knows something's off. She grabs her daughter and says, let's go, because the daughter had went to the bathroom, came back. She said, let's go. Gets the daughter, she's like, go get in the car, go get in the car. The little boy who was doing the cleaning off the front of the car, she tells him, go get in the car. And they get in the car and they get ready to leave. She's feeling real uncomfortable, like something real off here. So they start riding, and then they start to see the truck that had been parked at the gas pump across from them following them. And the car is what you call it? It's not chicken necking. It's that I forget what gerbil or whatever it is that peeks his head out. But it's like playing chicken with him or something like that. And she's like, what are they doing? And then they ride up on the side of them, and the white boy is leaning out the window, cussing the daughter out through the window. And the mom's like, what in the world's going on? This is the way your enemies will do you. They ride up on you real quick, especially if you are in a wilderness or you're close to your blessing. If you're close to your blessing, they know and understand that there are certain type of sneak attacks, sudden attacks, and the Jezebelic spirit of intimidation will come upon the situation in order to make you be like, oh, I need to back away from this. I need to get out of this. I need to separate myself from this. And it only shows up because you're that close to your blessing, okay? So it's coming to intimidate them. So they finally get out, and they need to get run off the road and all this type of stuff. They get away from them, and they think, okay, they gone. But what ended up happening is they rode up ahead and blocked their path. A lot of you are dealing with a level of obstruction. The apostle recently did a video where he was talking about what the enemy does at this particular point in time is you're close to your blessing. He tries to obstruct your path from being able to get to where you're trying to go. So, with that level of obstruction, you find that you can't move forward. And the enemy is playing chicken, like they pull out and pull back forward every time you try to move forward towards it. Demonic delay. And I thank Keys to the Kingdom so much last night. She said it's called the spirit of Pisgah. This is a spirit that blocks and obstructs your path just before you reach your breakthrough. Do a word study on that. Do a biblical study on that. Anytime you are close to your breakthrough, it comes in order to obstruct and block your route. A lot of people will try to tell you you have a spirit of abortion. This is not a spirit of abortion. That's operated by the spirit of uh, Moloch. This is a completely different spirit. This spirit only shows up to block you from walking into your blessing. Okay? Do research, do word studies. If you're intercessors, pray into it. Go into a fast. Do whatever you got to do. Because if you notice that you're being blocked, this is what you need. Okay? So, she's sitting in the car and her brother's sitting there like, oh, I'm going to take care of this. She said, no, you're not. You're going to sit in this car and I'm going to go take care of it. Now, we living in the times of feminine empowerment where you telling a man to sit in the car. Come on now. Now, you know that's not the way it's supposed to be, but I guarantee you the reason that she did that was because he doesn't have a cool head. And she told him, if you get out this car, you're going to start some mess with these fools, and then they really going to start acting foolish. What in the world you think you're going to do? I got my 2 kids here. Do you not recognize this? Okay. So, and that's the way the enemy does, because the enemy knows that you will try to protect what is around you. I don't care whatever movie, television show, whatever it is. The enemy knows that if it can attack or come at you at a point where the people around you that you care about are at threat, whether they kidnap your friend, they hurt your husband, they do whatever it is, they're going to take you off your game. Or if at the utmost their lives are at threat. They can't hurt you, but they know they can hurt them. This is a subtle attack that the enemy always tries in order to try to stop you or take your knees out from under you just before you get to where you're trying to go. It tries to threaten an attack against the people around you in order to slow you down and distract you from the main goal. Okay? Where we at? So she gets out the car and she goes to talk to them, and of course they want to be racist people because she's black and they 2 white boys. They said, well, your daughter said X, Y, and Z to us, so we feel like there needs to be an apology. And she said, okay, sorry. They said, we did not feel that apology sufficed. We need you to say that with more feeling, or we're going to X, Y, and Z. The enemy will always try to not just intimidate you, but embarrass you. If you looked at the video, I don't know at what point, I probably will put it up prior to posting this, but I did a video where I was talking about the way the enemy will do certain types of sneak attacks in order to almost get you to look like you're below him, because he will take you and put you in a vulnerable state where he will attack and then try to publicly embarrass you. And that's what this is a public embarrassment. Because the point is, the enemy knows that you're more powerful than him. So if he can publicly destroy the, goodness, the appearance of goodness upon you, by creating a public spectacle of you in order to destroy your the view of who you are, by trying to put some type of stigma um, some type of viewpoint that isn't true, trying to get you to act out of character, because that's what this guy was trying to do, is to get her to act out of character. And so on and so forth. But earlier in the film, when they were in the car and nobody wanted to talk, she was talking to her brother about the fact that their father was I believe he was in the military, and the father had taught her how to shoot, to fight, and it was a third thing that she was taught. So, but you know how we are as Christians. We ain't going to shoot nobody. We ain't going to fight nobody. We are going to speak the word of the blessed Jesus Christ and pray that the Lord does not take us to a point that we're going to have to fight these people. Because it's like Jesus give us strength, because we ain't trying to flip off. And if you had a history, let's say you were one of those types of people that had a back history of fighting. It's like, nah, those types of people, it's even harder for them, because it's like the enemy comes that much harder at them, because it's like, if I can get this person out of character, and that person is like, I can't go back to my old beat you up type of ways. So they try to, let's say emasculate, but it's not emasculate. It's similar to what emasculation is to a man, but it's just taking their power back, taking their power away from them through embarrassment. So she apologized again, and they were let go. This is attack 1. So they go to the diner and have dinner. The daughter and the uncle are listening to music on the jukebox, while the son and her are sitting and waiting for the food. And the son asked, they weren't going to hurt us, were they? Because the boy's maybe about 11 years old. Like, they weren't going to hurt us, were they? And she says, no, I wasn't going to let them hurt us. We were going to be fine. It's like, I'm the mom. You ain't got to worry about that. And the boy ends up saying that it leads to him breaking down because he misses his dad. What the enemy will try to do, as we know, we're in a time and a season. This is another reason why the Lord has been having you pray for your spouses so intently. Because of the fact that the enemy wants to take these men out before they get to you. He wants to take them out once they get to you. He wants to take them out after they have kids. He wants to take them out because then there's no strong leader in the family to cover the family, cover the children, cover all of this. And then leaves you in a state, not of destitution, but you're in a level of either hustle mode where you're trying to cover everything, or struggle where you are in a state where you always are reaching for a handout. And the enemy wants to keep you in a reaching out for a handout phase. Because if you can't get up from that, then he's got you where he wants you. This is another reason why the Lord has anointed kingdom marriage, because of the fact that a lot of these women, especially those of us that are called to influential seats, we need spouses because they protect us from having to struggle and toil to get these things alone. And there's a different level of fight for us in being a protector, a discerner, and all of this when we are in the low place, because we don't have the assistance of a spouse. And then add on if you have children or so on and so forth, and you're fighting in that way to protect your kids. But with a spouse, you have two people praying to cover a family, and you're working from a place of ease. Especially if you're equally yoked. Some people marry people that are unequally yoked with them, and they end up in a state of push, pull, tug, toil, struggle. Some of them, it's not like that. I always pray peace for my God ordained marriage because I ain't got peace. I ain't got the peace for it or the time for it otherwise. uh, the warfare too much to be having to still deal with all kinds of confusion on that side. I need that person that's gonna be there with me, praying with me. We're gonna walk this out together, align together on what it is that we were. Yeah. And that is what this woman has lost in this situation. So she's hugging her son and trying to calm the son down. So after that, I believe they get back on the road. It's getting near dark, and they head to a hotel for the evening because it was a 3-day trip that they were supposed to be taking. And they get to the hotel, and they're just having family banter. You know, your two kids arguing with each other about stuff. The uncle acting a little foolish. They having conversation. They making fun of each other because the uncle's doing the most with his snoring. And then they all go to sleep. But around 4 o'clock in the morning, it's so funny. I was listening to Stephanie P's video this morning where she was talking about, you know how when God wakes you up around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to pray, sometimes there is a disturbance, and notice it always comes around about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He wakes you up to pray against any type of confusion. Well, here's the confusion. There was a bunch of confusion on the opposite side of the wall in the adjacent room. So when this happened, they're like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. What in the world is going on? They hear a fight going on in the other room. Sometimes the enemy will bring about a distraction. You're supposed to pray, and Stephanie P's video is kind of interesting because that's what it was talking about. You're trying to get instructions from the Lord, and he's bringing about distractions from a place that you can't even see the distraction, but you have to choose whether you are going to entertain or engage that distraction at that moment. So they see it, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to get involved in the situation, or are we going to stay out of the situation? And she's like, I'm a nurse. I have to get involved in this. Here we are, the lovely Christian people. We are definitely going to jump and get involved in it. Don't do it unless the Lord then gave you instructions that you are supposed to involve yourself into certain situations, because you don't know the outcome. But sometimes the Lord will allow you and lead you into confusion in order to get you through the blessing. But this is why the wilderness is the wilderness. Because sometimes you got to fight the Goliath in order to obtain the blessing that's going to come.